was still halfway open, like she didn't even have the decency to finish pretending she wasn't about to drop a bomb on our marriage. Madison stood by the window, arms wrapped around herself, as if bracing for the consequences of something she'd already done. "Where are you going?" I asked, keeping my voice steady even though I felt something cold coil inside my stomach. She flinched, barely, but enough to confirm everything I feared. "Logan, don't make this harder." "Harder than what?" My chest tightened. "Then seeing bags on the bed we picked out together? Then you avoiding my eyes for 2 weeks? Harder than sleeping next to someone who feels 1,000 miles away." Her gaze dropped. "I'm trying to be honest." I let out a humorless breath. "Honest. Then start." Silence. The kind that stretches so thin it might snap. Madison wasn't always like this. She used to be the kind of woman who laughed with her whole face, who hugged me from behind while I cooked, who insisted on slow Sunday mornings with pancakes and her cold toes pressed against my legs. Our routines felt safe, familiar. Gym in the morning for me, yoga for her, evenings shared over dinner, weekend road trips whenever we could afford them. For years, we built something steady, something I thought was ours. But lately, she'd been drifting, staying out later, guarding her phone, smiling at texts she wouldn't let me see. The kind of behavior you don't want to confront because admitting it means admitting what's happening. Finally, she spoke. "I've been talking to someone," she whispered. My throat went dry. "Who?" "Dylan." My jaw locked. "Your ex." She nodded, tears forming. "I didn't plan it. We reconnected. He reached out first. I just needed clarity and you think he has your clarity?" I cut in. My voice wasn't loud, but it was sharp enough to make her look up. "He understands things you don't," Madison said quietly. That line hit me harder than any confession. I didn't yell. I didn't break anything. I didn't storm out. I just stared at the woman who promised forever and realized she'd been slowly dissolving that promise piece by piece. "So what do you want?" I asked. She swallowed. A week. A week for what?" "To be sure of what I feel." She paused, then added the part she must have known would cut the deepest. "I'm going to stay with him." The world tilted. Literally tilted. Like my body couldn't process the words fast enough. "You're telling me," I said slowly, "that you want to spend 7 days with an ex to decide whether you still love me?" "Logan, please don't twist it." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I didn't know what else to do with the pain. "Twist it." "Madison." I'm repeating it. She wiped her cheek. "I don't want to hurt you. I just need space." I finished flatly. "Right." She nodded. For a few seconds, all I heard was my heartbeat, steady, loud, and filled with a fury I didn't show. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I didn't plead for her to stay. Because something in me shifted. A door slammed shut, quietly but permanently. Instead, I said, "If that's what you want, go." She didn't expect me to say it. Her expression faltered, softening for just a moment. Maybe fear, maybe guilt, maybe the realization that I wasn't going to fight for someone who wasn't fighting for me. "Logan," she murmured, "this isn't forever. I just need to know if I'm choosing the right life." "You already made the choice the moment you packed those bags," I replied. She opened her mouth again, probably to defend herself, but I held up a hand. "No more explanations. Do whatever you think you need." Madison lifted one of the suitcases, hesitating like she was waiting for me to stop her. I didn't. She walked out, leaving the faint smell of her perfume lingering in the room, a scent that suddenly made my stomach turn. When the door shut behind her, the house felt impossibly quiet. Not peaceful. Quiet in a way that exposed every fracture she'd made in me. I sat on the edge of the bed, hands clasped, breathing slowly so I wouldn't explode. 7 days. She wanted 7 days to compare our marriage to her past. But the thing Madison didn't know, the thing she never imagined, was that her ex wasn't the only one who reached out. His wife had too. And what she showed me, it changed everything. I didn't plan revenge that night. Revenge planned itself when the truth landed in my hands. Madison thought she was stepping away to find clarity. But clarity was already on its way to me, in the form of a message. From the woman married to the man she ran to. I didn't sleep the night Madison left. I lay in bed staring at the faint glow of the alarm clock, my mind replaying every moment of our marriage like a film I wasn't ready to watch. By morning, I felt hollow, like someone had scooped out the core of me and left a shell that still breathed out of habit. Around noon, my phone buzzed. A message request. From Rebecca Cooper, Dylan's wife. For a solid minute, I just stared at her name, unsure if opening it would destroy me more or finally give me the clarity Madison claimed she needed. My thumb hovered, then tapped. We need to talk. Today. It's about them. No dramatic words. No accusations. Just certainty, like she already knew exactly what Madison was doing. I responded, where? She sent an address to a small coffee shop across town. The kind of place Madison and I used to love before she started avoiding spending time with me. I threw on a jacket, grabbed my keys, and drove with my jaw clenched the whole way. When I walked in, Rebecca was already there, calm, composed, but with eyes that carried weeks of sleepless nights. She looked up, and the moment our eyes met, something clicked. Two strangers connected by the same wound. She gestured toward the seat across from her. Logan. I nodded. Yeah, thanks for meeting. I wish we weren't meeting under any of this, she said quietly. Same. The waiter set down 2 glasses of water and left. Rebecca didn't waste time. I'm just going to say it, she began, fingers tightening around the napkin. I know about them. My stomach dropped. For how long? Too long, she admitted, voice trembling for the first time. I found messages, photos, plans they made without us. And last night, Dylan told me he needed a break, that he wanted time alone to heal. She huffed a broken laugh. Meanwhile, he's probably with your wife. The blunt honesty stung, but it was the truth I came here for. I leaned back, exhaling slowly. Madison told me she needed space. A week away to see how she feels. That's not space, Rebecca said. That's an exit strategy. The words hit harder than I expected, but then she reached into her bag and pulled out her phone, tapping until she found what she was looking for. She turned the screen toward me. A picture. Madison and Dylan, arms around each other, at some cabin, one they used to visit, she told me once back when he was the one who got away. Except he didn't get away. He came back, and she ran straight into his arms. There's more, Rebecca whispered, her voice cracking but steady. Messages from last month. Last week. Last night. My heart punched against my ribs. I've been living with a stranger, sleeping next to someone who smiled at another man the way she used to smile at me. I pushed the phone back gently. Thank you for showing me. You deserve to know. Her eyes softened. But I didn't bring you here just to hurt you, Logan. I brought you here because there's something else. She took out a folder. A legal folder. My brows furrowed. What's that? My lawyer prepared divorce papers for me, she said. I'm done. I won't let him disrespect our marriage another day. She waited for my reaction before continuing, and when I heard what Madison told you, I figured maybe you shouldn't wait around for her either. I didn't reach for the folder immediately. Part of me felt guilt, like signing it meant surrendering everything I'd built with Madison. But another part of me, the part that had been ignored, lied to, and quietly replaced, that part finally breathed. She chose him, Logan, Rebecca said softly. Even if she doesn't say it out loud, she already made her decision. You get to make yours. That was when I asked the question that had been burning quietly inside me. What do you want to happen next, Rebecca? She met my gaze directly, steady, unflinching. I want the truth to come out, and I want them to face the consequences of the lies they built together. I didn't expect the surge of adrenaline that followed. Not anger, not bitterness. Something colder, sharper, like clarity sharpening into resolve. What exactly are you suggesting? I asked carefully. She leaned in. They're expecting us to sit home crying. They think we're naive, disposable, replaceable. Her voice dropped, steady and controlled. Let's show them we aren't. For the first time in a long time, I felt something other than heartbreak. A spark, a direction. Rebecca slid the pen toward me. I'm filing today, she said. If you want to take back control of your life, you should too. I stared at the papers. Divorce. Final. No more waiting. No more humiliation. I picked up the pen. Madison wanted 7 days away from our marriage to decide if she still loved me. She didn't know that by the time she returned, the decision wouldn't be hers anymore. It would be mine, and I was done being the one who got left behind. When I walked out of that cafe with the divorce papers tucked under my arm, the sunlight felt different, harder, colder, like the world had shifted on its axis without warning. I drove home in silence, not because I didn't have anything to say, but because there were too many emotions trying to climb out of me at once. Anger, disbelief, betrayal, and under all of it, relief. Relief that the truth was no longer hiding in shadows. By the next morning, I'd done something I never imagined I would do. I called a lawyer, a calm, steady man named Christopher Hale, who listened without judgment as I explained everything. Madison's emotional distance, her sudden request for space, and the truth Rebecca revealed. When I finished, he paused before speaking. "Logan, you're handling this with more clarity than most." Clarity, a word Madison claimed she needed. Funny how I was the one who found it. Christopher explained the process, clean, respectful, by the book. No drama, no fighting, just finality. But while he talked, my mind replayed every memory from the last few months. The late-night workouts that didn't match the gym's hours. The turned-over phone screen when a notification pinged. The sudden perfume she started wearing, one I didn't buy. And the way she pulled away from my touch like affection had become a burden. I signed every page, and I didn't hesitate, because this wasn't about hurting her. This was about reclaiming the dignity she thought she could chip away in small, quiet pieces. 2 days later, I met Rebecca again, this time at a park overlooking the river. Families walked by, laughter echoing in the air, which felt strangely out of sync with the tension tightening inside my chest. Rebecca handed me her phone. They're together, at the cabin again. The cabin Madison told me was too far for a weekend trip. A humorless breath escaped me. They really didn't waste time. "No," Rebecca whispered, "but we're not wasting time either." For a moment, we just stood there, two people whose worlds had collapsed, now building something solid from the wreckage. Not romance, not companionship, just truth, understanding, a shared determination to stop letting people walk over us like footprints in soft dirt. She looked at me again, her eyes steady. "Logan, how do you want her to find out?" I didn't want shouting. I didn't want scenes. I didn't want chaos. I wanted silence. I wanted impact. I wanted her to step into the consequences she created with her own hands. I want her to face the life she chose. I said finally, without leaving me trapped in it. Rebecca nodded slowly. "Then let's do this right." We spent the next hour planning. Not anything cold or cruel, but something emotionally honest and undeniably final. Something that wouldn't violate dignity, but would reflect the truth she tried to hide. Something that made it clear I didn't lose Madison. She lost me. By sunset, the plan was set. On the 7th day, the exact day Madison promised she'd come home to discuss what she discovered about her feelings, I woke up early. The house felt calm, almost peaceful, like it had shaken off a storm. I packed the last of my belongings. Clothes, shoes, my grandfather's watch, the cookbook my mom gave us on our first anniversary. Things that mattered. Things that deserved to be part of a life not cluttered by betrayal. On the kitchen counter, I placed the manila envelope. Inside it were the divorce papers. Signed, dated, final. Christopher included a professional letter explaining everything in clear, respectful terms. No hate, no accusations, just truth. I added my note on top. "Madison, you didn't need a week away to figure out what you wanted. You already knew. I'm not the backup choice while you chase what feels nostalgic or exciting. I hope you find whatever you were looking for, but you won't find me waiting anymore. Logan." I set my keys beside the letter. Then I walked out. The house that once held our laughter felt strangely lighter behind me, as if it had been suffocating under secrets and finally exhaled. I didn't go far, just down the block, where Rebecca waited in her car. Not to hide, not to spy, just to witness closure from a distance neither of them expected. Because closure isn't something you get handed. Sometimes, you create yourself. At 5:17 p.m., Madison's car pulled into the driveway. She stepped out wearing a soft sweater I bought her last winter, her hair tousled, her smile small and hopeful, like she believed she'd walk back into the version of me who still waited. She opened the front door. Even from the street, I felt a shift when she realized the house was empty. Empty in a way she never expected. She stumbled through the doorway, calling my name, her voice shaking as she walked deeper inside. A minute passed. Then two. Then, she appeared at the window. Her face broke. Not into anger. Not into shock. into the kind of devastation that comes when you thought you still had someone, and suddenly realize you never gave them a reason to stay. Rebecca whispered, "She knows." I nodded once, steady and calm. Madison wanted clarity. Now she had it, and she had to face it alone. Madison didn't call me that first night. Maybe shock drowned out every instinct she had. Maybe she thought I was bluffing. Maybe she thought I'd come home once I calmed down. But when someone breaks trust, they forget something important. The moment the person they hurt finally wakes up, nothing is the same. The next morning, I received a message from Christopher, my lawyer. She contacted me. I handled everything professionally. No issues so far. I thanked him and put the phone down, feeling a wave of closure wash through me. Not bitterness, not triumph, just a quiet realization. I no longer belonged to the version of life she tried to keep on a string. Later that afternoon, while I was helping Rebecca gather her things from her own home, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was Madison. "Madison, where are you? Please talk to me." "Madison, why did you do this without letting me explain?" "Madison, I wasn't choosing him. I just needed clarity." "Madison, Logan, please. Can we meet?" I stared at the screen, reading every message with the calmness of someone who finally understood his worth. Rebecca glanced at me. "She's reaching out, isn't she?" "Yeah." "Are you going to answer?" "No," I said softly. "Not today. Because closure isn't a door you open for the person who shattered you. It's a door you close for yourself." 2 days later, after the paperwork was fully processed, I agreed to meet Madison. Not to reconcile, but to let her face the life she created with her choices. We met at a quiet park, the same place where I'd spoken to Rebecca earlier that week. Madison stood under a tree, hugging herself, eyes swollen, her expression a mixture of regret, fear, and disbelief. "Logan," she whispered when she saw me, "you blindsided me." I shook my head. "No, you blindsided us the moment you walked out that door with your suitcase." Tears welled in her eyes. "I made a mistake. I shouldn't have gone. I shouldn't have talked to him. I was confused." "You weren't confused," I said quietly. "You were entertained. There's a difference." She flinched at that. "Please, I wasn't replacing you." "You already did," I replied, "long before you told me you needed space." A long silence stretched between us, filled with everything she couldn't take back. Finally, she whispered, "Did you really have to leave the house like that? Couldn't we have talked first?" "Madison," I said, my voice steady and calm, "you left to decide whether you wanted me or someone else. I left so I wouldn't be part of that decision." She hugged her arms tighter. "I thought you'd wait for me." "That's the problem," I said gently. "You thought I'd always wait. You thought I'd stay in the background while you experimented with nostalgia." I took a slow breath. "I'm not an option on a shelf." Her tears spilled then, real, raw, uncontrollable. "I didn't think you'd actually end it. And I didn't think you'd actually walk out to spend a week with another man," I replied. "But here we are." She sank on a bench behind her, covering her face, her shoulders trembling. It hurt to watch. Despite everything she'd done, I never wished pain on her. But pain was the only thing honest enough to reach her now. "I'm sorry," she whispered through her hands. "I'm so sorry, Logan." "I believe you," I said. "But forgiveness doesn't mean returning to what broke me." She looked up, eyes desperate. "Is there someone else?" I shook my head. "There doesn't need to be. Choosing myself is enough." Madison lowered her gaze, defeated. "So this is really it?" "It is." I stood, giving her one last look. Soft, respectful, final. "You'll be okay," I said. "We both will. Just not together." When I turned to leave, she didn't follow. She didn't call my name. She didn't chase what she'd already lost. She just let me walk away. And for the first time in months, my heart felt steady. Not because I won, not because she lost, but because I finally understood. Sometimes the strongest revenge isn't anger or chaos. It's walking into a life where you're valued, even if you have to walk alone at first. And that was the life I was stepping into now.